Hey, listen up. We got another episode of Kracks, featuring the Krack man himself, Bill Krackenberger, and our co-host, John Orlando, straight from Las Vegas. Kracks is your ticket inside the world of sports betting, with tips, picks, special guests, and more. Only on WSN.com.
Welcome back to another episode of Kracks. It is March Madness time, and Bill Krackenberger is on the East Coast. Happy about March Madness time, aren't you, Bill?
Yes, hopefully get into a groove here. Looking forward to it. A lot of talk about Selection Sunday. Everyone gets so excited and they get pumped up for Selection Sunday. It's really a fan favorite. I kind of don't even watch it. I watch the games go up and the lines slowly come up, and that's my thing.
It's
see where
so
the line opens up.
It's so funny to me that you like me. You don't really love, but you don't really like. Never mind love. You don't even like basketball. Yet March Madness is one of your best times.
Well, college basketball
right.
in general, is a sport I love to bet, and I've had much success for the last 25 plus years. So
yeah,
it's one of my things. College basketball, NFL props, golf matchups. There's been a lot of things that I really enjoy doing here. We'll have we'll get into another show eventually here. The NFL draft has been very successful now that you can bet on it with these new markets. But yeah, we were focusing on college basketball and the big up to the big dance here.
Yeah, and we will talk a little more college basketball a little later in the show. But first, NFL was on fire yesterday in terms of breaking news. The biggest story is Aaron Rodgers is going to be staying in Green Bay, most likely finish his career in Green Bay, and they're paying him handsomely.
Yeah, we're hearing about $200 million over 4 years. So all the threats and everything. Oh, the guy won the MVP. I mean, how can he not? But all the threats and everything else, and because they picked a quarterback,
right?
Jordan Love as the number one draft pick a couple of years back, and it just put a whole spin in Rodgers. He didn't even know if he wanted to play anymore. It was like an insult. It looks like that was a big. Probably a big mistake by the Packers now. They wasted a first-round draft pick on someone that's not even going to play. I mean, here you're investing $200 million for the next 4 years. So it's interesting. So listen, I actually like Rodgers. I mean, I think he's of course a fantastic player, and he speaks his mind about a lot of things, and he might be a little bit off, but we're all off in our own way. So.
Yeah, I'm definitely off. Do you think he was ever going to leave? I see the wheels turning in there. You're going to take a shot. Do you think that Aaron Rodgers was ever going to leave Green Bay, or was that just played to perfection?
Probably just played to perfection.
Yeah.
I mean, but I don't know if it's about money at this point either. I mean, the guy's got so much money already. He could have just walked off the field and retired and lived a happy, successful life. But it looks like he probably wanted to play the whole time, and he's with the franchise player that he is with. It looks like he's the man there. So hopefully things calm down now over there, and they know who the man is. Not that they didn't know anyway. So he definitely is their franchise player here for the next couple of years, and hopefully gets him back, because they're a great team. It just they didn't. This year, again, they were a big favorite. They were the favorite to get there too before the playoffs started.
Yeah,
and they went out the first round. So
yeah,
their first game.
And then the other big story I found out via text message. I got a random text message in the middle of the afternoon, or maybe late evening or early evening, I should say, yesterday from my good friend Jeff Cohen, who is a diehard Denver Broncos fan. I had no clue what he was talking about. He just sent me a text that said, "Yeah, baby," and I was like, "What happened?" And he said, Russell Wilson to the Broncos. That's a huge trade, right? I mean, he's arguably
it's a giant trade.
Yeah,
I didn't know. I don't keep up with trades and rumors and why they may leave. I still don't actually know. I'm pretty surprised to see a quarterback of his stature, though, leaving Seattle. They're for greener pastures. Well, it's not greener pastures. It's going to be a little bit colder pastures where he's going.
And there really wasn't anyone else for Denver to go get. I mean, that's really the biggest. I mean, when you think of like a team in need of a quarterback right now, who really is there that you could make a trade for or get? That's really Russell Wilson was probably the only big name you could make a move on, and Denver did that.
Yeah, well, I don't know the terms of the contract, but I would think it would be not Rodgers money, but maybe close to it.
Yeah.
Rodgers is now, I think, second highest paid player, or he's going to be behind Mahomes, being the big one. So now, interesting.
I know you don't love future bets, but do you ever try to speculate, like if Denver was probably looking for someone, maybe the Raiders might still be looking for someone, do you take a shot and try to speculate, maybe Denver could sign a Rodgers or a Wilson? Obviously it ended up with Wilson, but and do you make a future bet on the Super Bowl like prior to that? No, you never do it.
However, I do know if you get information like that, like when Brady went to Tampa,
right?
I mean, for a couple really two guys I know, but they're part of the same team, betting team, that is, betting syndicate team. They speculated that he was going to Tampa, and they cashed out a lot of money, middle six figures on that. So I understand the reasons behind it. If you get that kind of information, absolutely worth doing. Sure, taking a little shot.
How much do the odds drop? Do you know, like for Denver Denver 3 days ago to win the Super Bowl, I don't know what they were, but it drastically drops now when they sign someone like Russell Wilson, right?
Well, I don't know about Wilson per se, but I probably, because they didn't know what quarterback they had, sure. But when a guy like Brady gets traded to Tampa,
it's huge.
I don't know the actual odds, but I think it went from literally maybe 200 to 1 down to 60 to 1 or something,
wow.
Something like that. So maybe even less.
Yeah. Another big story is the Falcons' #1 receiver, Calvin Ridley, suspended for a year for gambling specifically on the NFL. I guess he bet on his own team, but nonetheless still gets suspended for a year. Seems like a harsh punishment, right?
I don't know if he bet on his own team. I'm not sure what he bet on. He might have. I haven't followed the story real close, but I do know that he bet less than $1,500 on 5 bets, which let's just call it $300 a bet.
Right.
And it's costing him $11 million now. But, my question to these, like a guy like the commissioner is, I mean, what do you expect? These are kids in their 20s. He's a little bored, injured reserve. I mean, every stadium now has embraced, like the NFL, sports betting.
Yeah.
So what do you think these kids are going to do? What do you think? The state of the human mind, the human condition. We're just bored. He's not fixing. He's betting $300. It's not like he bet $250. By the way, NFL, you could bet a lot of money on if you have it. So you could bet hundreds of thousands. And if you go across multiple platforms, you could bet $1 million on an NFL side. I mean, so that's not what happened here. That wasn't the case. I think that they're trying to set an example with him, but I think it was a little too harsh. Here you have the NFL that you have a commissioner that basically didn't even embrace NFL and sports. Didn't even embrace sports betting and said there's no place for sports betting in the NFL. And here let's just be honest. I'm a street guy. You grease his pockets a little bit and everything's fine now, huh, Commissioner? Give me a break.
Not only that, I believe the NFL is actually an investor in DraftKings and FanDuel.
Oh, yeah, they are.
Yeah,
they're an investor in one of them.
It's so hypocritical. It's so hypocritical.
It is. But then again, you don't want people outside NFL. If you don't want the viewers, the fans, anybody thinking that the game has been influenced at all by someone on the sideline making a bet. So I do understand there should be some punishment. I just don't know. This is a real harsh punishment. They costing the guy a year's salary, but
and a year's
no one's going to be probably doing it again. But then again, who knows?
Yeah,
after seeing this, you wouldn't think any of the players would do it again. But
Right.
You never know. You can never, doubt things that you hear. It's crazy.
And a year's salary and also a year out, I mean, that's a lot of time. It's tough to come back. This isn't an injury, obviously, but, it's tough to come back to be away from the game, from that sport for any length of time. You never know how that's going to affect someone's career moving forward. I mean, it just seems terrible. It's a really sad thing to me.
Yeah. You see some of the different fines and suspensions players get, like 4 weeks for domestic violence or something, right? Which is really better, hitting a kid or something, which they've done, any kind of abuse towards children. And then this gambling, now you give them a whole year. So
yeah,
I don't know. It's just kind of a mess talking about it, even like no one knows anything. It's all about money in the end. It's upsetting thinking about it. It's
right.
all about the money. That's it.
Speaking of gambling, Drake is at it again, Krack. He bet $250,000 on Jorge Masvidal to beat Colby Covington in the main event at UFC 272 on Saturday. I was there watching the fight, and Drake did not cash in on that bet. It was a pretty easy win for Covington. You mentioned a few weeks ago when Drake was in the headlines for firing away at the roulette wheel like crazy, you said, he could go broke betting like that. I probably said it with a grain of salt. I mean, really, sure.
I don't think Drake could go broke. But if you're, at that time, he was having 7-figure swings at the roulette table, a 5% house edge game. And he likes to gamble like that. And he's showing on the sideline, sitting at the Laker game, showing that has swings, 6-figure swings on his apps that he's betting on. I don't care how many hundreds of millions he has. If you can win or lose 2, 3, 4 million in a day, your mind wants to chase that. And, listen, it really is. I don't like, because the kids see it and look up to a guy like Drake, and they just think, oh, man, Drake's gambling online. He's betting. This is easy. If Drake's doing it, they look up to guys like that. So
yeah,
I would hope that he would talk about some of his losses too, and not that he doesn't. Obviously, here is a loss. He admitted it. So hopefully kids take a lesson from that. It's not that easy.
I wonder how much more money comes in on Masvidal when Drake says, puts it out there that he's made that big bet on Masvidal. I would imagine it probably does move the needle a little bit in terms of action on Masvidal's side. Someone like
I'd be
Drake.
looking to bet against.
Yeah.
Nothing against him.
Right. No, of course.
Because I know that square money's going in the marketplace, and sometimes the sports book's forced to overmove the other way to get some two-way action. Anyone like that, any big guy that's betting, unless they're betting for a syndicate. But if they're not betting for a syndicate, like a guy like Floyd, just going in there betting his own opinion and $500,000 on a game, the sports book, like over at the M when Cantor Gaming first came to town, they would overmove because Floyd was, he used to jog there in the morning, put his bets down, and they'd have to overmove and get some two-way action. The other side would be what would be known as low-hanging fruit in the end, because he wasn't betting something sharp. He was betting his own opinion. So I've
seen Floyd in that sports book all by himself before.
Many times.
Yeah.
I've seen him many times.
Yeah.
I've talked to him many times. Yeah. Back in the day.
Yeah.
When it was the mothership of Cantor Gaming before they got thrown out of town for many things they were doing. So anyway, yeah. So good. Good luck to Drake. I wish him well.
Well, Krack, March Madness is right around the corner. The tournament starts next week. I know this is the basketball fans' favorite time of the year, and I know for Krack Wins, this is a big time for you as well. So let's talk about some of your tips for March Madness.
Well, the betting volume, people are shocked to hear this sometimes. The betting volume on March Madness supersedes anything. I'll even say it's more than the Super Bowl. It is, definitely. So I know before the nationwide gambling started, everyone, my buddies from back east all used to go to Vegas for March Madness. Sold out town, insane, crazy 2 weeks, especially that first Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, even the second round. Maybe not Vegas so much like it used to be, but the nation as a whole now that has been so accepting of sports betting loves to bet March Madness. And listen, there's going to be plenty of opportunities for positive expected wagers. I know that I just know how people bet a lot of the times, but I know what's going to happen sometimes. There's games on, there's every time you see a game, first of all, you'll watch a game and you'll see the other scores of the other games. So you'll see the other scores and you'll be turning back and forth to the other stations. It gets to be so insane that most people, they're humans. They're going to overbet because another game's coming on. I mean, you're talking, you're 32 games, and more than that actually. But I think it's 30. The first weekend's 37, or I think it's like 37. It's insane that first weekend. It gets to be so crazy, and people usually will overbet. So my advice is make sure stay within control. Bet within what your range is, and of course the biggest thing is because there's games from morning, noon, and night. Don't just start betting the night games without an opinion or some kind of advice from let's just face it, someone like myself. I mean, you don't just want to fire just to fire. And I'll tell you, a lot of like my tips that I can give out too is I bet a lot of underdogs in the first round, in the first half. Some of the big my wheelhouse actually probably would be like last year's Abilene, like to find a team like that. Yep. And to bet them first half because in that first 10 minutes, these teams that have never been there before, or maybe that know they're so much of an underdog, they want to get out on that court, and they're going to, the endorphins are spilling over. And so maybe that first 10 minutes, 15 minutes, they can get out there and keep up with these big marquee teams. But sometimes you could see the strength over the full 40 minutes, and the powerhouse marquee teams. Sometimes get the money there where the first half I feel is a pure number. There's no fouling. At the end of a lot of the games, I can't tell you how many games in a year I lose because I bet a lot on underdogs because of fouling at the end, taking 6, 7, even 8 and 9 points and, 10 seconds left, 9 points down, they're fouling. And now it goes to 11 and 12 and I lose my game because the big team makes their foul shots and I'm not making my threes. I got to hope to make a 3, a high percentage shot at the end of the game. They just have to hope to make free throws, which you have guys that are 80% free throw shooters. So it's hard to win on a lot of those underdogs for the full game when fouling gets involved. But the first half is a pure number. There's no fouling. And it's a thing that's mostly often overlooked. I will pick I'll have a lot of games, especially in the first half. So that's one big thing now. Now, John, you won't watch it all. Am I right? You're not really a March Madness guy. Do you watch the final game or anything? Or
I watch more only because of this show, so I kind of have a little bit of a sense of what we're talking about because I know we're going to cover it. Prior to this, never. I would never watch it. So I'll watch more highlights than I will the actual game. Yeah, I might tune in to the final game, the championship game, only because I know my friends watch it, and I'll probably be with them or something. But I it's hard for me to get into it. Okay,
all right. Hey, I understand. You're into your thing, and March Madness is not one of them. You like the UFC though. You probably don't miss a weekend in the UFC, right?
Never. I can watch undercard. I can watch fights all day long. I can watch boring midseason baseball games all day long. I can watch.
Me too.
I can watch preseason. I can watch spring training games back to back. No problem. Yeah. Basketball starts to lose me. Your insight though when you talk about this stuff is really next level. Like I never. There's so many things I've learned from you that I never even considered, like talking about the first half and that being a pure number. I don't believe the average sports bettor, and even maybe a lot of I don't know about the advanced sports bettors. There is a thing, but the guys that don't do it for a living, I don't think they put this kind of thought and strategy into what you're saying. And to me, it really is. These are golden nuggets that you give out. And it's a perfect example of why people, I say it every week, and it's like, yes, it's a plug, when we bring up Krack wins, but man, I don't believe you get the credit you deserve. And I know people probably think, well, what else is he going to say? He's on the show with him. But, when you hear you say things like that and things like, you don't have to bet the game just because it's on TV. You talk about it for football season all the time, too. The Thursday night game, you don't have to bet that game just because it's on TV. And that really is stuff, as I lose in this sports betting competition that I'm in, I'm losing because I violate your own principles that I've supposed to have learned from you, like with the bankroll management and things of that nature. And this is all stuff that you take people through with the Krack Wins app. And, guys, really, if you're out there and you're dabbling in sports betting, or you want to get into it and you're just seeing the show for the first time, or you hear me week in and week out talk about download the Krack Wins app, listen to me. This is the time to do it. March Madness is the time to do it. Download the Krack Wins app. It's on Apple, it's on Google Play, or just go to crackwins.com and learn from this guy. I mean, he's been making a living going on, 20 years or whatever it is. More. There's a reason why he's able to do that, and it's because of the little nuggets that he gives on this show. There's my speech.
Well, John,
Bill.
Me. Thanks, John. Me and my team and myself, we have many years in this game, and it's so hard for someone that's home, a 9-to-5 guy that goes to work and so tries to support his family, and now comes home and just wants to bet a team just because they read something in a paper or on a website or on TV. So let us do the work for you, man. You have literally so many years of combined talent that goes beyond to make a Krack Wins selection. And listen, we literally have destroyed bookmakers over the years. I mean, it's just a matter of time when we start destroying them again. Got off to a little bit of a slow start. Got off to a good start, but then February got off to a little bit of a tough start. I'm always an open book. Most people won't talk about that. Literally, my first losing month since May. 8 winning months in a row. I mean, that's impossible almost. I don't think any service can. Matter of fact, I challenge any service to say that. Have that many winning months in a row. So, we're off to the winning in March, and we'll we're looking forward to these tournament games and even the smaller tournaments, and then going right into March Madness. And so join crackwins.com and the Krack Wins app. Thanks.
And can you touch more on big schools, like the big name schools that are always in it, Kansas, Duke, Gonzaga? Yeah. There's opportunity there or value in going the other way, right? Can you talk about that a little bit?
Well, not blindly, though. Not blindly. There is some value at certain sports books that by getting that. First of all, the sports books put up a line knowing which way most of the fans, or a bigger portion of the fans, are going to be betting. So especially after Selection Sunday comes out, these smaller, little-known schools against a big team, or it's sometimes there's some really good, juicy information that I feel I provide with the Krack Wins app and the crackwins.com for exactly this situation of the spots to get in and bet against the Dukes, the Kansases, the Gonzagas. Again, especially in the first half, though. So it's not blindly go against all the big name teams. You have to pick and choose your spots. But I find that the value against those teams, I find some built-in value because of the way the games are aligned.
Got it.
So, there you have it.
And now is probably a great time for these first-time sports bettors that are listening and want to go and get some free money. WSN.com has all of the bonuses at tons of online books, right? I mean, this you can really leverage the plays that you give out with Krack Wins and get some free money into play here too.
Yeah, I'm looking at the site now because I've seen a really good article. I actually, for the first time ever, I actually emailed someone that wrote an article on WSN. I usually don't want to bother the guys or anything there. He wrote a fantastic article. So there's some really good articles on WSN.com. just on, first of all, latest prediction odds and news. However, there's one that says how to bet on March Madness 2022 by a guy named Max Herring. I hope I'm saying his name right. Fantastic article. I looked into that one and I read the whole article, and really that's a great explanation of everything you need to know for betting March Madness. The U.S. sports betting news articles, of course, always great. Like to know the different hurdles that the states are overcoming, like Oklahoma, Illinois, Missouri. These are all Alabama. These are places that are all rolling out sports betting here. They're literally in the final hurdle here. Also, of course, the bonuses. You look at a place like New Jersey, and there's so many bonuses that are to be had on WSN.com. They negotiate some unbelievable deals with some of these sports books. So go to WSN.com, click on the bonuses, or click on the states. I like that. You can go to a state guide and show you all the bonuses you get in your state. But you have to go through that app. You have to go through that link because, again, they have negotiated some of the greatest bonuses and perks for you guys out there. WSN.com.
Well said. Well said. All right, Krack, our guest today had an amazing career as a Purdue Boilermaker in 2017. He was academic all Big Ten, starting 13 games at safety. These numbers are insane. 12 tackles against Iowa. He sealed Purdue's bowl win over Arizona with an interception on Arizona's last possession. Went from a walk-on to team captain. He had time in the NFL with the Giants, the Colts, and the Niners, and now he has his own digital marketing company, which we will definitely ask him about. Please welcome to the show, Jake Thieneman to Wisecracks. How are you, Jake?
I'm doing great.
Hey,
Thanks for having me on, guys.
Cool. Like your helmets there. You got the Purdue and the San Fran, and I'm sure you were rooting for San Fran to get there in the end, but just fell short there. So
I was pulling for him. I was disappointed to see him fall short, but happy for the guys that were able to make it there.
Sure. Well, again, Jake, thanks for coming on, and we appreciate it. We have a lot to talk about with you. Actually, let's start with the NFL. So you last played for the 49ers, and that's before the pandemic. How much do you actually miss the game? Do you miss the game itself? Do you miss what's going on? Being out there with all those fans and all your teammates and being competitive? I know you have a new career here, which you're being very competitive in. But what about that NFL? Do you miss that?
I do. I do. You hit it right on the head. I miss the competitiveness, just going out every day to get better, just the whole football atmosphere. And I would say probably the biggest thing I miss is just the time in the locker room with your teammates, in between workouts, in between meetings when you're just kicking back, having fun. Definitely miss those times a lot.
Cool. John?
Yeah, it's funny that is, I think, what every player says, right? And it just really speaks to how much fun the game really is, the whole experience, right? It's like we grow up as little kids. I wanted to be, I thought I was going to be the shortstop for the Dodgers for the longest time. That was my dream. And it's interesting to me when you talk to players, like we're good friends with Marcus Allen, and he says the same thing that you say. Like that's what he misses the most is that camaraderie. It's just interesting to me that, you were really part of an elite group. We all grew up saying, if I could just play one day in the big leagues, and you had that opportunity. And I just have such respect for guys that can get to that level. So congratulations on that.
I appreciate that, man. That means a lot. And I only got a short taste of it, but man, it was pretty sweet. It was pretty sweet while I was there. And
you say short taste, but you made it to the Super Bowl. Am I right by saying this though?
Yeah. So I made
it to the Super Bowl in 2020, right? That had to be an unbelievable, life-changing experience. Something you could tell your grandkids about. I mean, it's unbelievable.
Oh, dude, no, it's absolutely even more crazy when you get the backstory behind it. So I got signed by the Niners in December of that year. So we went to the Super Bowl in February of 2020. I got signed at the beginning of December 2019. I was working a desk job in Chicago, and I literally got called on Monday morning. I first got called by the Bengals, who at the time, they're great now. At the time, they were the worst team in the league. And then I got the second call by the Niners. So I was like, which workout do I go to? The Bengals or the Niners? And
wow,
Niners, obviously.
Oh, wow. What a story that is. That's great. That's great.
Are you nervous when you go to a workout like that? Is there like so much pressure, or is it? I mean, you walked on obviously in college, so I mean, I guess you know what it's like to show up and have everybody kind of count you out and prove them wrong. But was there a lot of pressure for that?
There's definitely some pressure because it's your one shot, it's your one opportunity. So definitely want to take it seriously. I had a few workouts at that point, so it wasn't my first one. I was used to it at that point. And then, like you said, just going through the walk-on journey, battling, overcoming that adversity to get to where I was at that point. It just been kind of been the same old thing. Don't put a lot of stock in what people have to say, good or bad. Just focus on you and just go out there, have fun with it. We're extremely best to play a child's game at the highest level. So just have fun with it.
Sure. Jake, you're a defensive guy, old school, hard nosed. It just seems a little bit different, even though you only played a short time ago. It just seems like the NFL is all about points now, protecting the quarterback, no hands on like it was back into the receivers, and don't even touch the quarterback unless the ball's in his hand. Listen, of course it sells tickets but it gets people excited football. But now this old school style of football seems to be gone now with so much protection for a lot of the key marquee players, especially. Well, what's your take on things like that? Do you kind of agree? I mean, it seems like you couldn't even get close to Brady or anything, and they would be throwing flags. I mean, not only him though, a lot of the marquee players and a lot of the the guys that are in that are the fan favorites, really.
Yeah, it's definitely an interesting topic. People love to debate this. I would say I'm mentally I'm more of like an old school, like hard-nosed type player, like you said. I agree with some of the rule changes with regards to protecting players, especially like defenseless guys. No one needs to be getting crazy head, neck, back injuries. So I like that aspect of it. The protecting the quarterback, it's important. It's necessary. They got to protect the viewership, but they get a little crazy with it sometimes. The rules with defensive backs, man, they leave defensive backs out to dry. They're gearing it towards an offensive game. They make it way too easy for these receivers and quarterbacks just to sit back and just pick defenses apart. As a DB, there's not a whole lot you can do right now.
Sure. Like a guy like Jimmy Garoppolo, who I'm sure you're someone of course. Now, a guy like him, and you obviously became familiar with him back in your time in San Fran. What was he like, though? What was he like to be around? Was he, do you think they should actually stick with him now going forward? What's your opinion of? I'm sure you follow this team still. That's probably your team to follow, or one of your teams. So, what about Jimmy G? What do you think?
I liked Jimmy a lot. In the time I was in the locker room with him, I thought he was a great dude. I thought he was a great leader. He's a good guy to be around. Leads by example. Not the most vocal guy. Not like a extreme vocal leader. But he does all the right things. So I think he's talented. As far as whether or not they should stick with him, that's tough. There's a lot of money conversations to have there, especially when they got Trey Lance behind him, who's looking pretty promising.
Yep.
But I think that Jimmy gets way too much hate. I think he's a phenomenal quarterback. I think he's had some bad luck in his time, some things that haven't gone his way injury wise. So, but I think he's a rock star.
Cool.
Jake, I did stand-up comedy for 10 years and then realized I wasn't very funny. But when I quit doing stand-up, it was really tough. Usually typically at 8 o'clock at night on Friday, Saturday, Sunday, it would be showtime, right? And at 8 o'clock, when I quit doing stand-up, I would get borderline depressed because I'm expecting that adrenaline rush. Was it hard to transition out of football into now the marketing company that you have? And we want to hear more about that. But was that a tough transition in the beginning?
Dude, it was extremely tough. You hit the nail on the head, man. It was a hard transition going from just competing every day, being in the locker room with your brothers, and just being in the full football atmosphere to completely shifting gears. So there was definitely I would say it took almost year and a half to really get comfortable, really get used to things, especially moving into my marketing agency and the business things that I'm doing now. So yeah, it was kind of a tough transition.
Yeah, I bet.
Cool. Tell us about that. Tell us what tell our viewers and listeners. First of all, you can be found on Twitter. that's probably not your most popular one. It seems like you built up a lot of followers on TikTok. Matter of fact, I seen on Twitter though, in like 8 short weeks, you had 20,000 followers, and that's unbelievable. But so tell us what you do. You're a social media consultant. You help athletes market themselves. Am I understanding that right? Tell us how you got started with that. What are the keys to success and goals there? Tell us what you do.
Yeah, absolutely. So I teamed up with one of my good friends from Purdue, Preston Mantell, when I was still playing, actually, and we started this marketing agency called Digital Paradise. And the thought process was, I'm in the NFL. I need to build my personal brand and market myself as an athlete, as a player. As I'm doing this for myself, I can do this for the other players I know, guys in the locker room. And then I knew on the horizon that the NIL rule changes were going to change in the college football space and college sports in general. So I saw this as a great business opportunity. So when my football career ended, we still had the company, and it was like, okay, what are we going to do here? So we stuck with it. We weren't working a lot with players initially, but we did a lot of other things in the marketing space. Literally, we tried absolutely everything. It was kind of throw everything against the wall and see what sticks, from social media content, digital ads, sales funnels. We worked with all different sorts of businesses. And like we talked about, adjusting to the business world, just wasn't really enjoying it that much. I wanted to do more stuff in the football space. So late last year, we decided to come back to working with athletes. And so that's when I hopped on TikTok, because TikTok is definitely, like, by far and away the number one social media platform to be on right now. Number one for organic growth, number one for virality, number one for building a business and a personal brand. So I hopped on TikTok and just started posting videos every day about my football journey, my experiences, giving people like a behind the scenes look of college and NFL football. And like you said, I gained 20,000 followers in 8 weeks. I'm at like 23,000 right now. So not crazy amount, but pretty solid growth in that short time frame. And so what we're focused on now is working with college and NFL players, specifically TikTok focused, to grow and monetize their account.
That's awesome.
Wow.
Yeah. So it's pretty fun. It's been pretty exciting so far. Just reconnecting with a lot of my friends in the league that I maybe hadn't talking to in a year or two. A lot of guys I know in the college football space. So just having a lot of conversations, making a lot of relationships. It's been a lot of fun.
Well, it's funny. I have over 37,000 followers on Twitter, and I just signed up for a TikTok account. Like,
there you go. There you go.
Nice. Way to get in it.
But I am going to try to take some of those follow. Matter of fact, I followed you on Twitter. Maybe I'll if we can message back and forth on there. I like to get some of my 37, almost 38,000 followers over to TikTok a little bit. So I bet sports for a living, and I have a lot of videos, the tutorial videos I put up on Twitter, and people like that, how to get edges on games and casino stuff, and just to stay away from the sucker games. So I am actually joining the TikTok space for the first time. I don't have any followers.
Heck yeah, well, welcome, man. Hey, and these, I mean, you got a podcast, so you got the perfect opportunity. Just pull clips from this and throw it on there.
Cool. Thanks.
I just followed you on TikTok literally seconds ago, and I'm proud of myself. I was able to find you without putting my glasses on, just in case Travis put the camera on me during that process. But, I love that you're embracing that, because, I think there's so much opportunity, as you know, for marketing, for sponsors, for a lot of these players, especially football. You go your whole career with a helmet on your head. A lot of people don't even know what most players look like. Obviously they know the Tom Bradys of the world, but there's several, top players, whether they're on defense or offensive line, whatever it may be, that people don't, get a chance to see their personality. And these platforms like TikTok have so much opportunity for growth, obviously, and sponsorship opportunities. I would imagine you could be really successful in guiding athletes, down that path. Absolutely.
And that's the plan, really. And like what you said about just giving guys a platform to, tell their story. Like you said, behind the helmet, a lot of people don't know what these guys even look like, what their stories are, or get some look into what their personalities are. And so, creating short little videos on TikTok gives the fans, the community, people that support the school or the team, an opportunity to really connect with players, and for athletes themselves to start to build a community of people that support them. So it's really cool. It's been a lot of fun. I like just being able to share my story a little bit. Like we talked about before, there's people see some of the highlights of getting signed and going on the, the Super Bowl experience, but not everyone knows that working a desk job and got a call on a Monday morning to go to the workout. And I had 4 hours to go home, pack my bag, and fly out to San Fran. So getting able to share some of that stuff, the little tidbits, is pretty cool.
Yeah, that's great.
Jake, where'd you grow up as a kid? Where'd you grow up when you were a kid?
So I grew up, when I was younger, I lived in Northwest Indiana, but I really, really grew up, came into high school in Indianapolis, right on the north side, small town, Carmel, Indiana. So I grew up a Colts fan. And so when I was when things were a little unsure and I got the opportunity to work out for the Colts, and I got signed by them, that was like dream come true, dude. Like my dream was to make it at Purdue and like, hopefully, play a little bit there. And then I got to the point where I had a great career at Purdue and I was like, all right, what's the next step? Going to the NFL, getting able to be on the Colts for a little bit, play in a preseason game, put on the jersey. I had the same number that I had in college on the Colts, number 41. And I got to keep the jersey with my college number and my name on the back. So I got it framed on my wall. So literally a dream come true. It was pretty sweet. Oh,
wow. That's cool. You shared a story on TikTok about the water boys and how much money they make, which no one knew. I think the viewers would be really surprised. Can you touch on that a little bit and tell them how much money the water boys on the sideline, but they have to be almost qualified to be a water boy.
Yeah. So that was it's funny. The TikTok or the comment section went crazy on that one because everyone calls them water boys, but they're really athletic trainers. They need to have bachelor's degrees and master's degrees to be certified to do it. So they're on the medical staff, the training staff. But yeah, it's $53,000 per year, I think, is like the starting salary. Plus lots of other benefits you get with being on an NFL team. But not crazy high considering, the level of education needed, but it's an interesting opportunity.
It's only like 16 weekends too. I mean, maybe a little bit more with preseason and stuff.
In off-season OTAs, that stuff.
Off-season, yeah, that's true. Yeah. That's true. Well, cool. All right, John, you got anything else for Jake?
Yeah, I got one last question for you, Jake. Calvin Ridley obviously got suspended for a year for sports betting. Seems like a really harsh penalty to me. What are your thoughts on that?
I thought the penalty was a little harsh too. The NFL's rules are clear on it. They ban it. They don't allow it. And they don't have a history of liking it at all. So it makes sense why they did it. They also need to protect like the validity of their game.
Yeah.
If people think that players are out here betting on games, they're going to think that it's rigged and that the games aren't legitimate. And it'll start to look like more like the WWE. So they got to protect their brand. But when you look at a lot of the other things that players commonly get in trouble for and the penalty or the or whatever the league does to them isn't as severe as what this was, that's where the discussion gets kind of interesting.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, no, Jake brings up a good point, which we actually talked about pre-show. I mean, there's some like domestic violence things that happen. People got like 4-game suspension. So now you're suspending, basically a kid. These guys are in their early 20s. I mean, it's really easy to listen. Every single stadium now has DraftKings, FanDuel, all these different sports books advertising going around. The NFL sure accepted that.
Yeah.
So you have to expect humans to be humans. The human condition, especially someone that maybe not playing or he's off or he's a backup, just fooling around. The guy I think he bet 5 games, by the way, John, $300 each. It's costing him over $11 million.
Terrible.
For what happened. Yeah.
Yeah, that's tough.
To see it.
Well, Jake, I don't know if you ever make it out to Vegas, but if you do, please hit us up and let's go grab a meal or watch a game or something. It would be fun to hang out with you.
Yeah, I'd love that. I appreciate that.
Yeah, let us know, Jake. Great. Thanks for coming on, Wisecracks.
Thanks for bringing me on, guys. A lot of fun.
Thank you. Krack, football players like Tom Brady, just athletes in general, the Derek Jeters, the Tom Bradys, the guys that play 20 years in the league, and put up these incredible careers, they overshadow moments or careers like our guest today, Jake. I really loved having him on the show and to live out a dream like that, walk on the college team, go to an open tryout and get on in an NFL team. These are storybooks like the movie Rudy or these are amazing things that even though to be done with your professional sports career and I think what is he in his mid-20s, I think, or late 20s.
Yeah, I think he's like 20, 26, 27.
It's amazing to me to have accomplished all of that before the age of 30 and what that takes, right?
Yeah. I really liked him. He was a burst of energy and smiling, young, good-looking kid, and he's very excited. He was talking with his hands like I do. So he was great. Yeah.
I really loved having him on the show. So Bill, I'm sorry to report in the best better competition, I am unfortunately sitting in 5th place. I am, hold yourself, Bill. I'm 5-23. But in my defense, Bill, they're making me bet on basketball and soccer and all this nonsense that I don't care about. My heart's not in it.
5-23. I'm trying to think. You have set a record that was set in 1979 by the Kosciuszko brothers, Stymie and Stan. They went 5-24.
Did they?
Yeah. Great job.
Yeah.
You're just missing that record. So
I can get there, Bill. Be confident. I can stay the course. I'm like you said, I'm consistent, and that's what's important.
Good. Yeah, listen, that's funny. How was your 24-hour junkie marathon?
Well, it was fantastic. We had some great people on. Randall Emmett, the big movie producer, was in this studio at midnight. It was incredible. We had Sugar Shane Mosley Jr., Shane Mosley's son, who's a boxer who was fantastic, and he was really fun to talk to. We had this incredible undefeated up-and-coming heavyweight, Jeremiah Milton. He's 4-0, and he had this crazy knockout that went viral on social media in, I believe, his last fight. We had some great people on, and we raised some money for a good cause, and it was a good time, but I'm still recovering, man. I had to pop this little boost of energy before we did the show here this morning. So I think I'm too old to do this 24 hours. I might need to call in for backup next year. Cool.
Well, also, I want to tell people, there's a lot of free bracket contests out there. Enjoy them. A lot of people love filling out these brackets, and it's a fun thing. There's a lot of free contests out there. Don't be spending money on them. There's so many free sites and stuff you can join and have some fun with. And good luck with that. It's a very popular thing this year. And I think we're wrapping up the show.
Yeah, this was another fun one. Time flies by, and I look forward to seeing you again next week.
All right. Thanks, guys.
We'll see you next week on Wisecracks.